Well, a fresh row has broken out between the government and the auditor, the CAG Vinod Rai. That's after Mr. Rai, while speaking at the World Economic Forum yesterday, first criticized the centre for what he called the appalling brazenness with which decisions are taken, and then went on to say that the CBI is often called the government's handmaiden and so must be given constitutional status to be more effective. Since then, the Congress has hit back.
The brazenness with which decisions were being taken is absolutely appalling. And fortunately, with call it transparency or accountability, today each one of us will be held accountable, and we are conscious of that now for any decision that we take. So we were at one point of time, let me say, transparency averse, but no longer. And today I think everything is coming out into public domain.
The CNAG contextualized his remarks by praising the transparency regime, which the Right to Information Act has ushered in, and it has come of age in the past 8 years. But having said that, if he talks about brazenness in decision making, and it refers to the time period of this particular government, I think it would be worth his while to recall that he was a part of the same government from 2004 to 2008.
CBI is not an independent authority in that terms. That's why very often, and everybody writes about it, that CBI has become a handmaiden of the government in power. Why? Probably because it's not independent of the executive. You look at the role of the Central Vigilance Commission. Vigilance Commission is another body, much feared, much maligned, but it's still a statutory body, it's not a constitutional body. The idea is, if you really want some of these institutions to deliver, you must take the risk and take the courage to make them constitutionally independent.
CAG हमें ज्ञान देते रहते हैं, उसके लिए उन्हें बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. लेकिन CAG अपने दफ्तर की रिपोर्ट्स लीक होने पर क्यों रोक नहीं लगाते?
So a sarcastic dig there from Mr. Digvijay Singh, not surprisingly. And so as the CAG takes on the government again, is he right? Should the CBI and the CVC have constitutional status? Will these bodies have much more teeth if they have constitutional status? Two different aspects to this debate tonight. We're joined by Mr. T.S. Krishnamurthy, the former Chief Election Commissioner of India, Mr. T.S.R. Subramaniam, India's former Cabinet Secretary from the BJP, Mr. G.V.L. Narasimha Rao. Also shortly we will be joined by the Congress Party spokesperson. Mr. Krishnamurthy, to you first. Do you think that giving the CBI and the CVC constitutional status will give these bodies more teeth?
Well, I thought I would like to first make an observation that I would like to compliment the CNDTV for making such a pronouncement. Not only his pronouncement has got two parts. One is about the brazenness in decision making, and the other is about the independence of the CBI and the CVC. I agree with him on both the counts. He has not referred to any particular government, central or state, or present or past. I think it is a timely announcement, mainly for civil servants to understand that decision making has to be well transparent and well recorded, and you cannot make decisions offhand. Secondly, as far as the CBI and CVC are concerned, it is not a reflection on the present government or the past government. It is a reflection on all governments. Unfortunately, the CBI and the CVC have not been able to display that kind of independence and authority as the other constitutional institutions like the Election Commission or the CNAG. So I entirely agree with both the observations made by Mr. Vinod Rai, and I would like to compliment and congratulate him.
You're very outspoken there in your support for what he said. But Mr. Subramaniam, the criticism sometimes is that as a constitutional authority and as the CNAG, should he be making these kind of statements?
It's a good question, but before that, just two very, very short comments.
Sure.
I think two Congress spokesmen spoke on the points made by the CAG. I think they have made a due respect, a very poor job of shooting the messenger. If they had, in other words, both were very weak shots fired at the messenger. They don't
about the leaks of CAG reports.
They don't hold any water at all. They should be taken very, very lightly, number one. On the point that you have made just now, what is the question that you had?
Whether it's
yes, you see, there are two questions.
Yeah.
I entirely agree with Mr. Krishnamurthy that truth is the best defense. So on the issue of brazenness, I think he was perfectly correct. I have a question mark in my own mind. As a serving constitutional functionary, truth is the best defense. He was right there. should he make it? Is it in good taste or is it proper? That's a question. It's a very minor question. What he has said is absolutely correct. So I will not give him too many negative marks. That's one question.
But you do question it?
I don't question it seriously. I only said he could have been more discreet than putting these, because year later when he retires, if he says that, it's okay. But as a functionary today, he's not a government servant today. He's a constitutional servant.
Yes, exactly.
So he's got every right to say whatever he likes. And even, for example, the Supreme Court, which is a constitutional body, says things like that about the government. I would have preferred that. But let it pass. What he said, absolutely correct. In 2G Colgate, we have seen repeatedly what he said has bine perfectly correct. On the other statement, I entirely agree with him. I need Krishnamurthy. Totally agree with him. It's my belief that if only we had an effective Lokpal and an independent investigating agency in the center, CBI, and independence,
they would be effective.
We would have been one of the superpowers of the world in the last 60 years. These are the two major governance issues which have brought us backward, or which have held us back. I entirely endorse it. I think the correct time he said it. I think the earlier we do, with one caveat. An investigating agency should not become a total power by itself. Independence from the government of India is vital, essential, but there should be an oversight mechanism. What it is a matter of detail. Is unlike a judicial mechanism. An investigating mechanism should not be completely independent. To that extent, it's only a minor difference. I entirely agree with the spirit of what he said. Independence is essential, whether it is statutory or a constitutional body. It should have an oversight mechanism. But I think he was dead right in calling for these amendments today.
Okay.
India's #1 news app just got even better. Download NDTV's new app. Fully optimized for retina display. Full screen view. Faster response time. And Sudoku. NDTV's new iPad app. Download now.